Mar-a-Lago judge's stark ruling, jury sees secret files or Trump wins. Interesting. The MAGA-friendly federal judge who keeps siding with Donald Trump in his Mar-a-Lago classified records case has forced prosecutors to make a stark choice. Allow jurors to see a huge trove of national secrets or let him go. Is this that unreasonable? Jurors are often made privy to private information. I guess like top secret, ultra classified is a step beyond that, but stuff like this doesn't happen that often. The charges like are relevant to the severity of the materials kept, right? Or is there nothing in the case that would involve that as a question, you know? I'm not too worried about the jurors leaking the information. I guess the main concern, this is meant to be like a barrier, right? I guess like, oh, if you want to prosecute Trump so bad, you got to show him, in the hopes that maybe the prosecutors don't want to show. Do we want them to see the nuclear codes? Yeah, give them the nuclear codes. Hell yeah. Guys, the nuclear codes aren't in the documents. Department of Justice Special Counsel Jack Smith must now choose whether to allow jurors the upcoming trial to pursue the many classified jurors' instructions that would effectively order them to acquit him. Smith could appeal to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, where more experienced judges have already overturned Cannon and reined her in, but doing that will only further delay a trial that's at least 3 months behind schedule, entirely by the judge's own design. Yeah, she's been delaying. Like this seems, yeah, it's a delaying tactic, basically. I don't know how relevant this is to the actual case, because it seems like the case is more about like the extent to which Donald Trump hid the efforts that he went through to hide the documents from the FBI and not turn them over, rather than the actual content of the documents. This could be bad if it reveals assets in the field. No. There's not any worry about that, I don't think. For one, if the jurors started leaking information like that, they would get black-bagged. For two, a lot of the information in those documents is out of date. It seems like the only legal case against Trump that's holding pretty well is all of the New York financial stuff. And that's not even about him doing crimes related to his presidency. We're literally doing the getting Al Capone on taxes thing, where the January 6th case in Georgia is stalled and mired with controversy. You know, the Mar-a-Lago case with hiding documents from the FBI. You know, this is getting stalled out by a pro-Trump judge. And what that leaves us with, I guess, is the state of New York bankrupting him. Yeah, I don't understand this ruling, but I guess it's a Trump judge, so, you know, whatever. The documents case is a slam dunk. Yeah, but it's a delaying process, right? I mean, even with this judge giving dumb rulings, you could still go to the appeals court. But the whole point is that takes long enough. They're trying to bide out time. They know that if Donald Trump makes it to the presidency, all of this becomes irrelevant. I don't think the hush money case is going to be worth much, Potato Brain Sim. It seems like the lowest stakes of the four. Can they delay until elections? Yeah, fully. Guess we'll have to wait to see what Jack Smith does. The documents case is the most solid case with so much evidence against Trump. Yeah, that's true. But again, it's the one that got the Trump-friendly judge. And, you know, the delaying tactic is what they're going for here. It's not a question of which case is the best. It's a question of which case hurts him the most and the fastest. And right now, the New York fraud case seems to be the one that's going to have the most impact, purely because it finished the fastest and has the largest monetary impact. And running elections costs a lot of money. What is this? Trump isn't backing down from controversial bloodbath rant. We still talking about this? It's been 2 entire days. He said he was only referring to a disaster for the auto industry. What? If he's not elected in the fall? Why the f does he care? Is my question. The Republicans have been refuting this for the past 2 days. Refuting what? What is there to refute? No, Vosh, no, he said the bloodbath thing against China's tariffs. It doesn't matter. Have you heard him talk? It's all soup nonsense. He just says stuff. The points that he makes are often disconnected. Also, why would he care about, why would any Republican care about him saying bloodbath in the context of some kind of broader like race war or political conflict? He does that all the time. Is that new? Like, wait, is it novel that Donald Trump would say something like, you know, it's going to be a bloodbath in this country if I don't get elected, like just with regards to anything political or racial? That's not new. He's done that before. I don't understand why they're like hobbling over this one. Because Biden HQ is using it in his campaign. Oh, that's why they care. Gotcha. That does explain it. I mean, we can hear the damn language.
And you're not going to be able to sell those guys. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
The reaction was immediate. Trump.
I mean, yeah, he could be talking about the cars. He could just be talking generally about the country. It's not like he's particularly precise with his language. I don't know. Like, look, it's Donald Trump, okay? He says stuff like this all the time. I guess I just, like, you hear this, you know, if there was some like Ku Klux Klan guy who was making statements where it's like, oh, he could be talking about a race war. He could be referring to this specific thing. Like, I don't fuck, whatever. Mehdi Hassan and Cenk were beefing about this on Twitter. Oh my God, who cares? Cenk, it wasn't an economic speech. We need to be more... Okay, hold on. I can't stand Donald Trump, and I think he's a danger to American principles, but he said bloodbath in the context of an economic speech. Given his history of calling for violence, he should be more careful, but we need to be fair. He wasn't advocating for violence this time. Cenk, it wasn't an economic speech. We need to be more than just careful. He's always advocating for violence. He literally saluted domestic terrorists in that same speech. He did do that, yeah. He was ushered on stage by the January 6th choir, you know? I know that was a different part of the speech. We covered that as well, but he said we should have 100% tariff on cars made in Mexico, which is insane, but he said bloodbath in the context of economics. Okay, in fairness, putting a 100% tariff on foreign vehicles probably would also lead to an actual physical bloodbath in the United States, because it would be such a ruinous decision economically that people would be like cannibalizing one another on the streets, you know? So there's that as well. Yes, he should never say it. We have to be fair about the context. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much plausible deniability Donald Trump can reasonably benefit from at this point, you know? Hitler didn't mean Jews in that part of the speech. He was talking generally. Yeah, again, the thing that makes it especially weird to me is just that Donald Trump signals that the country is going to fall apart if he doesn't win all the time. That's just not new. I don't know, whatever. Many MAGA Republicans are saying Trump's bloodbath comment should be put into context.
But you all... Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. And it's going to be a bloodbath for the country. But you also had...
I've heard of subtlety. I've heard of authors who employ subtlety, and I think they're cowards.
People that were very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacy?
In fairness, Donald Trump literally did say that about the Charlottesville people, you know? That's not out of context. That is true. Though the Jews will not replace us bit. This wasn't Charlottesville. This was that other march. This was the Tiki Torch March. He didn't say fine people about these guys, but he did about the Nazis at Charlottesville. So, you know.
Very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
There'd be a lot of pardons and commutations.
That was Charlottesville. Well, he was specifically referring to, like, people on both sides of the protesters and counter-protesters at Charlottesville, not specifically to that. Again, you know, whatever.
January 6th defendants.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell your supporters now, no matter
Vashite, stand back and stand by.
what, no violence.
And it's going to be a bloodbath.
I don't have a problem with this. The ad overall is about his support for hate groups and his willingness to signal support for violence, all of which is completely true, right? You know, it's like, well, technically when he said bloodbath that one time, it's like, yeah, he's called for violence a bunch of other times and said the country's going to fall apart a bunch of times. And he signaled violence and supported domestic terror groups and said that the people who committed a coup and tried to kill a bunch of politicians to get him elected in office are actually heroes and patriots. And he's done all this other stuff. But that one specific time, the term bloodbath, it was in reference, it was about cars. It was about cars. I don't really care, you know. I mean, Jan 6 did actually happen. Well, that's what the media wants you to think, yeah. I do appreciate libs embracing the Trump fascism rhetoric. It was so annoying when leftists were called hyperbolic for it. Yeah, it is nice, genuinely. It's one of the big, like, positive shifts that I've seen in American liberals, where they seem relatively comfortable now, just, like, openly making, like, Nazi comparisons, which is warranted. Nazis aren't the only fascists to have ever existed, but they are the most well-known ones, so it's, you know, relatively easy to point at them and draw the comparisons. Also, as fascist groups go, Nazis have been the predominant, like, influence of fascist groups in the West in white populations for about 80 years, coincidentally. So, you know, they're also often the most direct comparison. Was that an actual Biden ad? Yeah. Biden campaign raises $53 million in February. Whew. The president's campaign and affiliated groups, including the DNC, hold a significant cash-on-hand advantage over Donald Trump and Republicans as Trump continues to spend on legal bills. Yes. That's nice. On February 5th, the DNC held about 3 times as much money on hand as the RNC. And with Donald Trump's debt issues massively rocketing up recently, that's probably only going to get worse. Love to see stuff like this.